Okay, with this part of the lesson, we're going to take all those terms that we just learned about the relationships between two angles in our diagram of parallel lines and a transversal to be able to identify all the angle measurements when we have been given one measurement. So again, the relationship is either going to be that the angles are congruent to each other because of their location, or they are supplementary because of their location, which means they add up to 180 degrees. So let's take a look to see what's given. So angle C is 100, oops, that page turned, is 108 degrees. So that's this measurement. So we can go in many different directions. I can easily see that A and C are vertical, therefore they're congruent. So angle A is also 108 degrees. Now, if we continue with all the angles that are congruent to A and C, we can go ahead and write these in our diagram. So notice that our angle A and C is obtuse. So let's find the other obtuse measurements and identify their relationship. So I can see that angle C corresponds to angle H, so therefore it is 108 degrees, or I could have said A and H are alternate exterior angles. Now that I know H, I can know F because they are vertical, so angle F is also 108 degrees. We could have said that angle A and F are corresponding. We could have said C and F are alternate interior angles. There's many ways that we can relate a pair of angles in this diagram. Okay, now what is left? So all these angles, let's put our notation. All those angles are congruent. They are obtuse measurements, more than 90. And then we have the other angles, which are going to be acute, less than 90. So let's start back with what was given. So angle C and angle B are a linear pair. They create our transversal. They are supplementary, so they add up to 180 degrees. So we can say that angle C plus angle B is equal to 180 degrees. And we know C is 108. And now we just need to do our algebra and subtract 108 from 180, our total of our line. And then we are going to get 72 degrees. So angle B is 72 degrees. It is supplementary to angle C. It's also supplementary to angle A. You could have gone that way. Now we know that angle B is vertical to angle D, so D is also 72 degrees. We know angle D and G are alternate interior, so G is also 72 degrees. And then we can say G and E are vertical, so E is also 72 degrees. We could have said B and E are alternate exterior. We could have said that angle D and angle E are corresponding. There's many ways that we can relate the angles to each other. So again, notice that our angle measurement is either obtuse or acute, and we only have two different angle measurements in our diagram. So let's apply our knowledge to this situation. So angle E is 75. Therefore, angle G is 75 because they're vertical. We know angle G and angle D are alternate interior. Therefore, they are congruent. We know angle G and angle B are corresponding. So B is also 75 degrees. And now let's go and find the obtuse measurement of our diagram. So we know A and B are a linear pair. They are supplementary. So I'm going to subtract out 75 from my total, and we are going to get 105. So angle A is 105 degrees because A and B are supplementary. They are a linear pair. So 105. We know that A and C are vertical. So C is also 105 degrees. We know C and F are alternate interior. So F is also 105 degrees. And then we know, excuse me, we know that H and F are vertical. Therefore, H is also 105 degrees. Okay, now let's talk about finding the value of x. So we're going to use a little bit more algebra here. The first thing we're going to do is establish if the relationship given is congruent or supplementary. So we have angle B. So angle B is 3x plus 8. Angle D is 80 degrees. So these are vertical. So we know angle D is congruent to angle B, so we can set up our equation. So angle D is 80 and angle B is 3x plus 8, or we could have written this in the other order. And now to find the x measurement, the x value, we're going to solve. So we're going to subtract, we'll get 72 equals 3 times x. We're going to divide by 3. And the x value, because it says find the value of x, is going to be, I believe, 24. So that is the x value. So we could plug in 24 for x to find angle B, but we already know it's 80 because they are congruent. So let's go ahead and establish the other angles that are congruent to B and D. So G and D are alternate interior. G and E are vertical. Again, there's so many ways we could go about this. So angle G is 80 and angle E is 80. We know that, and let's go ahead and put B is also 80 degrees. So we know that like A and B are a linear pair. They add up to 180. So I'm going to subtract 80, and therefore angle A is 100 degrees. C is also 100 because they are vertical. A and C are vertical. I can say A and F right here are corresponding. So F is 100 degrees. And then we can say F and H are vertical. So H is also 100 degrees. Okay, in this situation, again, let's establish what's given. So A, 2x plus 10, our F is 120 degrees. I see that A and F are corresponding, so our relationship is going to be angle A is congruent to angle F. And now let's substitute. For A, we're going to have 2x plus 10. And for F, we're going to have 120. And it says to solve for X. So we're going to go, X is 55. Now we could plug in 55 or X to find the angle measurement for A, But we already know it's congruent to F, so it's 120 degrees. We know A and C are vertical. They are congruent. And we know that angle C and angle H are corresponding, therefore they are congruent. Now, we know that, let's practice with the same side interior angle pair. So angle D and angle F are supplementary because they are same side interior angles. And so they add up to 180. They are supplementary. So to get D, we're going to subtract 120 and we get 60 degrees. So angle D is 60 degrees. We know D and B are vertical, so they both measure the same amount. So B is also 60 degrees. We know B and G are corresponding. So G is also 60 degrees. And then we know that let's take a look at E and B. They are alternate exterior and they are congruent. Okay, this time we don't have an actual angle measurement, but we do have two pieces of information of two different angles. So let's see what their relationship is. Angle D and angle G, alternate interior. So angle D is congruent to angle G. So let's substitute angle D for its expression and angle G and solve for X. I have a variable on the left and right. So I'm going to subtract out that small one. Now I'm solving for X. So X is 11. So this time I do have to plug it in to either of the expressions because they are equal. So I'm just going to plug it into angle D. So angle D is 58. Therefore, G is also 58. What else is congruent to G and D? Well, G and B are corresponding. G and E are vertical. And then we have all the other measurements that are congruent to each other. So let's take a look at a linear pair. So these are a linear pair, meaning they are supplementary. So we are going to subtract our 58 from 180. So we get 122 degrees. A and C are vertical. C and H are corresponding. H and F are vertical. They are all 122 degrees. They are all congruent. We have angle B and we have angle E. B and E are alternate exterior. Therefore, angle B is congruent. They equal each other. So I'm going to substitute B with 15x minus 2 equals 11x plus 22. 11x is smaller than 15x. Solve for x. X is equal to 6. So let's plug it in. I'm just going to use this one here. This expression, 11 times 6 plus 22. So this is angle E. I get 66 plus 22. This gives us 88. So B and E are 88. What else is congruent? E and G are vertical. I could have said B and G are corresponding. We have angle D that's alternate interior to G. So G and D are 88. Now, we have a linear pair. So this time, let's just look at F and G. They are a linear pair. They add up to 180. So to get F, we're going to just simply subtract out. And we are going to get, is that 92? Okay, so 92 degrees for F. And F and H are vertical. Let's see, H and C are corresponding. A and C are vertical. Again, all kind of relationships going on in this diagram. Okay, now let's take a look at E. We have E and we have H. So this time, our relationship is that they're not congruent, but that they are supplementary. So we're going to be real careful. We're going to say angle E plus the measurement of angle H equals 180 degrees. So it's going to be a little bit different here. So we're going to have 4x plus 8, that's angle E, plus the measurement of angle H equals 180 degrees. So this time, our variables are on the same side, so we're combining like terms. So our x value is 16. Now, let's plug in 16 for each of these, or we could plug it in for one and then know it's supplementary. So a lot of ways you can attack these problems. So I'm just going to say 4, so this is angle E, is 4 times 16 plus 8. So 4 times 16 is 64 plus 8. This is going to be 72. So E is 72 degrees. We could either plug 16 in here or we could simply subtract 72 from H because we know they are supplementary. So that's what I'm going to do. So 180 minus 72 is going to be 108. So H is 108. So H is 108. Okay, so E and G are vertical. G and D are alternate interior. D and B are vertical. Then we have 108. H and C are corresponding. We see that H and F are vertical. H and A are alternate exterior. So A is 108. B is 72. They are supplementary. C is 108. D is 72. They are supplementary. F is 108. So we can see that E and F are supplementary. And then G is also 72. And again, another pair, many pairs of supplementary angles. Okay, let's do one more. Angle D and angle F. These are same side interior angles. That means they are supplementary. So our relationship equation is angle D plus the measurement of angle F equals 180 degrees. We have 3x plus 4 plus the measurement of F, 5x minus 8, equals 180 degrees. Now we're going to combine like terms. They're on the same side. So we have 8x minus 4 equals 180. Solving for x. Divide by 8. Gives us 23. Excuse me. So now we can plug that in. I'm going to plug it in for angle D to get that measurement. 3 times 23 plus 4. So 3 times 23 plus 4 gives us 73 degrees. So D is 73. Let's find what F is. They're supplementary, so I'm going to subtract from 180. 107. So D is vertical to B. B is corresponding to G. G is vertical to E. So B is 73, G is 73, and E is 73 degrees. And then let's look back at F. So we have F and A are corresponding. A and C are vertical, and C and H are corresponding. So they are all the obtuse measurements. So I guess you've noticed that we have 4 angles that are obtuse and 4 angles that are acute. The only time you will not see that is if our parallel lines, we have our parallel lines, supposedly, excuse the drawing, and then if our transversal is simply perpendicular to both of those, then all the angles, of course, are 90 degrees. But other than that, you will always have an obtuse set of angles, or you will have an acute, and you will also have an acute set of angles. And each type of pair will be supplementary and add up to 180 degrees. I hope this helps.